welcome to Speaking of. I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
And here we are in the great wilderness. It's wilderness to me. Let's be
if
honest.
you walk through a door and there's no more walls, it's wilderness.
It is.
That's basically how that goes. So.
More or less. But yes.
More.
Happy spring.
Yay! It's spring, sort of.
Sort of. It feels pretty good.
It actually feels great for me.
Out here. I'm okay.
Yeah. The whole getting close to 80s thing was a little too much.
Oh, that was on Easter.
Yeah, that was.
I had the sweats, I tell you what.
I mean, I wasn't going to go that far, but we're sharing everything.
I mean, that egg hunt this year. And all I did is sit and watch.
It's exhausting.
And I worked up a sweat.
Well, that tells us what we need to know. I stayed in the shade.
Good job. I actually had to stay in the shade too, because I don't have a fancy derby hat like Kate does.
Derby hat. I wear my hat when I'm sitting outside to work and the sun is shining so that I don't have to put sunscreen on my face.
I often will do that so I don't have to put sunscreen on my head.
I mean, there's that. Saves a lot of sunscreen.
I tell you what. So where should we begin this week?
Where indeed? You know Topgolf?
I do know Topgolf.
Well, apparently, producer took the kids there this week because
Really?
it's spring break.
Right.
And Kylie sent me a picture of their menu. Apparently, they serve children.
Just children.
Sandwiches, pizzas, desserts, children, something else. I was like...
Children and a bunt cake.
Or maybe it said kids. I don't know. Either way. I mean, I'm just wondering, like, do they have... So when you go to a steakhouse, right?
Right.
And they have, like, the legend that tells you...
Oh, yeah.
This is what kind of meat you're going to get if you get this type, and this is what it means if you get it this well done or medium or what... I mean, I'm just wondering if they have that for this because, people aren't as familiar.
I guess. I don't know. Like, can you get them tender or aged to perfection? I mean,
baby back?
Baby. That's what I was going to say. What's the children equivalent to veal? I mean...
That's a great question. I mean, what do you... Here's what's interesting, too.
And at what point do they cut them off? Are you allowed to age them to 18?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like when does veal become beef?
It's true.
And here's what's also interesting is that there's a different name for a young animal and an older animal, whether it's alive or dead. It's a calf or it's veal. It's a cow or it's beef.
Well, and I want to say at some point I think I heard that veal, like, they're not allowed to move. Like, they can be born.
No, don't
But if
say
they
that.
start, like, moving around actively, then they're not as tender and juicy. I don't know. Maybe there's some veal expert out there that can help us out.
Veal, I
have not either.
I can't. That's a tough one for me to.
Yeah, I couldn't go that far. I mean, I'd be vegetarian if, I thought about where my meat came from.
I tell you, sometimes I do, and it's rough. It's rough.
It is. It's hard. Very, very hard. So, speaking of signage, I can segue that. Speaking of signage and, the menu and all that. So...
Unscripted, kids.
Unscripted.
Can you tell?
That's right. We don't plan our vlogs. Oh, speaking of that, too, but I
my.
can go off on that later.
Okay. Buckle your seatbelts, kids.
Taxes are coming, or the tax due date is later this year, obviously, because...
Right. Which they told us after most of us had done our taxes.
Right. Because of said pandemic and what have you.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I was going to ask why the pandemic leads to later. You're doing nothing. You have nothing else to do but your taxes.
I don't know.
But I think it might.
I don't know because of
businesses
and
with the stimulus checks. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's not like you've got other things to do, people. You're sitting at home. waiting around, do your taxes.
I didn't. Yeah.
Anyway,
So
I say I didn't do my taxes. Hubs did them.
let's be honest. TurboTax did them. Anyway.
He had to enter.
That's right. He had to put in the information.
I just printed stuff out and laid it on the table.
Oh, pardon me. So, as I'm driving out and about, which isn't very much or very often, let's be honest.
Same.
So, today I went out to run a few quick little errands, and I'm in the store, and there's the sign. You know, there's always the tax people. We
Oh.
are here to do your taxes.
The sign of
The
the tax
sign
people.
of the tax people. We are here, the accountants, the Jackson Hewitts, and
Oh,
all those
right.
people.
At the grocery store.
At the grocery store, yeah.
No one's
So-
going to do their taxes at the grocery store.
Immediately,
The
though,
milk's going to turn.
because in my head, taxes are done in April.
Right.
So immediately my head goes, I need to file my taxes. Even though I've already done it. But the fact that they're still out there is throwing me off. Not only does it...
It's okay. It's okay. We have chaperones.
I charge for that. Anyway. So not only does it happen once, so then I'm in my car driving home and the little sign flippers out there, you know, Liberty or whatever, will do your taxes. Happens again. I haven't filed my taxes. Oh, wait. Yes, I have.
I'm pretty sure
It's crazy.
that it's not the signs that are the problem. Just gonna throw that
Tell
out
you
there.
what. Well, you sending me that link today about allergies and that article.
Yeah, if you get frequent sinus inflammation, it can affect like cognitive and memory issues. And I mean, we've been
We're
trying to
kinda
find.
there.
We're trying to blame. It's not the mad cow. Or it is the mad
Well,
cow.
it is the mad cow. It's been
plus
the mad cow for
the
years.
sinus, plus I mean, it's a lot of things compounding together. I'm surprised he remembers my name. But speaking of remembering things,
Oh, there you go.
I am losing my ability to spell.
I've
It's a problem.
had that issue. Cards on the table, and I hope nobody from work is watching. So, anyway, I'm like, you finish your story first, and then I'll.
Well, just that I will I'll spell out a word, and it looks perfectly normal to me, and I have to look at it a couple of times to make sure, and sometimes it's wrong, and it looked fine. I would have just left it.
No, I'm having issues with math. And so I'm teaching
I don't do
online,
math.
and I found out the quickest way to get results, like assignments turned in, is to make like things interactive. And
Sure.
so I have to program, though, the
Oh.
math sheets
Yep.
with their answers
Yep.
so that they can come. And you will hear me downstairs, hey, Siri!
Oh my god.
Well, this is what's sad. So let's say I do 6 times 6, which is 36.
Is it?
Some
Siri?
I know. But some
It's
days
not
there
yellow?
are. I'll be like, 38? No. No. No.
Get your flashcards out. So does that mean that you're making up the problems too?
The problems are there, thankfully.
There's no key?
Sometimes
Don't you
there
have the
is.
teacher's book?
So sometimes there generally is, but it's quicker just to figure it out in my head than to transplant and copy and paste, because the program that I use is another story.
You can't just like print it out or put it on a different
Well, that would
page.
imply I have printer's ink, which is also another
or,
story.
or
but-
paste it into a Word document and then go back and forth.
No, with this program that
I don't believe you.
we use, no, it's true. The only thing you can do, it will not allow, it's a stubborn thing, it will not allow you to cut or
Oh,
copy
because
and
then it
paste
thinks
from
you're
another
cheating,
thing.
I guess. But you're making
don't know.
it. I don't know.
Like, I can make the boxes and put the answers in the boxes, and
All I know is I gotta double check my spelling, because if I can't spell, how can I judge people on that?
oh yeah, that's your thing.
I mean, come on. Don't take that away from me, is all I'm saying.
The wind is a brisk on this spring day.
Feels lovely at the moment.
My nose is running. Just kidding,
If
it's
it
not.
once the temperature goes up another 5 to 10, it's gonna be perfect out here.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll
And we
have
will be
that
out
for
here
about a
all
month.
the- no.
If we're lucky.
Well, don't worry, because when it gets too hot, last year when we were working outside all summer, Hubs bought a big air conditioner that we put out here. So we'll be fine. We can live back here.
How did I miss that?
I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure. Well, we were all in quarantine. You know.
Oh, yeah, we did go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had separation
We
anxiety.
did. So much so that I blocked it from my memory. I'm like, why wasn't I over here last year?
It feels like it is still last year. It's just April of last year.
Yeah, time
It kind of went
is
by
a
fast,
weird,
and it just sort of.
weird thing. Like, yeah, I was trying to think the last time that I physically saw you. And
Was
it's
it
been
through
a
my
bit.
window?
Probably binoculars. I said, Kate, tell your husband to get dressed.
Hear that, Joe? Oh, he left us.
He did, because we're too loud.
Speaking of too
Speaking
loud.
of too loud.
So, earlier, the backyard neighbor had a little soiree going on, and our microphone luckily would compensate for that. But at first, I was telling Hubs that, I'm like, yeah, they're still out there because they turned on their music. And he's like, where are you going to record now? And I said, no, we'll still record outside. It'll be fine because the microphone is great. And
What a forest to buffer,
so,
too.
well, then, so then I said, I mean, it's not like anyone ever has trouble hearing us. And he says, that's just your laugh, dear. And I said, well, you just best prepared because you're listening to that for the rest of your life.
Life!
And then I laughed really loud. I didn't, but that was fun. What else?
Well, no, I am looking at your lights,
Mhm.
and we need to call our dear friend Alexis because he's
Yes.
hanging them,
Oh, he
and
is?
he was having problems with them.
Oh.
And I thought Joe would be a good person
Joe
to talk
would be
to
a good person to talk to.
about that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can make a connection.
I was going to say, by the time this gets posted, he'll have them hung.
Hey! It's not my fault. Actually, I think I found the faster way finally.
Woohoo!
It doesn't take 4 days anymore, kids. We can be current.
We can be
We can be something.
I tell you what,
What?
I just did.
Oh dear. There was something else. Oh, well, I mean, this goes along the lines of cognitive abilities and forgetting things, but we were
have
having
no problem sharing this with the World Wide Web.
we were having Easter
We're losing
dinner.
it!
My mother-in-law is out of town visiting my sister-in-law, so we invite the father-in-law and his son over for dinner because the wife's gone, right?
Uh-huh.
Joe's mom is out of town. So
Joe's brother?
No, her husband and
Oh,
his
okay.
son.
Oh, gotcha. No.
So he comes over. So there's the four of us sitting there. Well, my mother-in-law calls her husband on FaceTime while we're sitting at the table. So we're all kind of chatting. We're taking turns, right? And she's out taking a walk. And she was saying, oh, I'm walking off my Easter dinner. Just needed a minute to get out of the house or whatever. And I was like, so I said, yeah, sometimes you just got to take a step back and decompose a little. And that was not what I meant to say. So I had to correct myself. No, please don't decompose. Perhaps just decompress.
It's as good as when I found out this week that my car only takes silicone oil.
As opposed to?
As opposed to, now I just lost it.
See, that's normally what happens. Normally,
It's not it's
silly string?
no,
Silly string
synthetic.
oil. Oh. Oh, yeah, well, that's
Synthetic
similar.
oil. Yeah,
But
but
see, yeah,
I
normally-
told somebody it took silicone oil. My car's had some work. Need a little
Looks
freshen
brand
up.
new.
It really does.
Yeah, see, normally I would stumble on the word and have to think about it, but no, the wrong word just came out. So that's what we have to look forward to in our near futures and going forward. We're on our way to being Statler and Waldorf at the nursing home. Or the park, or just, wherever.
We will. We're going to go to the Commons room and demand people perform for us. start playing the piano. Can you imagine?
And then we heckle them. Oh, we'll be the worst.
And people are going to come to visit their parents, and those other people will be like, they're so mean.
We hear your kids singing. Invite us over. Rude.
We can't go to the commons room anymore. They throw snap pops at us and make us dance.
Jared is going to get us arrested.
By that time, we'll be able to complain. Oh my gosh, see?
It's happening.
By that point, we'll be able to say, mental senility, something.
Mental
we'll be
senility.
old.
We won't have to say anything. I'm pretty sure.
I was going to say just that last statement. Oh, you're fine, you little bald man.
It's probably a good thing that Hubs isn't in there because he might commit us right now. Yikes.
Words are hard sometimes.
They are hard. They're getting harder. I would say a different adjective, but I don't know one.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
I'm going to
used
have
to.
a hard time going back. But I don't know, back to work in real life. Because you know what I've been doing right now is
It's
fake.
still the same.
It is, but I'm worried more about having one-on-one
Conversational.
conversations, and because like it's one thing to teach because you're on a
Sure.
subject and that kind of rolls, and I'm gonna be like, so the words say.
It's going to be like Iron Man 3 when Jarvis,
Oh yeah, it gets
I-
rebooted.
and then I say the wrong cranberry. Oh, I love him. I watched a
Have you been
movie.
watching him
I-
on WandaVision?
I already finished it, remember?
Did you? Oh, I thought.
We had this conversation. It's one thing to forget math or how to spell. But really?
Remember the important things. Have you started the Bucky show yet?
No.
Okay,
I
let me
haven't
know
started
how
it.
that goes.
Why am I the taste tester?
Because so here's my thing. We'll go with this
Okay.
now.
Mhm.
Like, and I was having this conversation with someone else this week. As far as Disney goes, like it just seems desperate now at this point.
Well,
Give us
yeah.
your money. Give us
Well-
like we're gonna do this and this, and we're just
Yeah.
gonna keep doing it. And I've said it before on the show. I know that I'm on fan exhaustion or whatever
Yeah.
they call it.
Yeah.
But I recently read an article, I think it was in the LA Times, that was talking about Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, they're getting ready to reopen, but they are also going to be building new lands.
Well, they're always building new lands, right?
Right. Well,
Or new lands.
and it's
like,
no, these are like new lands.
but
because
like new property lands or replacing something with something else?
no, like we're going to turn another parking lot into Wakanda.
You're going to have to helicopter in.
Well, and that's so I'm like, so the article then though went on to say like Disney is forcing these things on their parks, and it's really kind of sad because you're not going to get another original Jungle Cruise ride
Right.
or a Haunted Mansion or something. It's all based on a property now, which is sad. So that's
don't
the end
like
of my
it.
rant. That
It-
I'm sure all of these shows will be great.
Maybe, but at the same time, it's like just take a minute and do something new, or I don't know.
Dude, you might have to hang on here for a minute while I go get a tissue.
Oh dear. Okay, let's talk about Jared. So, not only did he forget that I told him all about WandaVision, but then he said, "Oh, he can't hear us now. I have to entertain you by myself." So these two guys want to go into a bar, but they have their dogs with them, see? And your dogs aren't allowed in the bar. And so the one guy says to the other one, "I think I have a plan. Follow my lead." So the first guy goes into the bar, and the bouncer says, "Sir, you can't come in here with the dog." And the guy said, "Well, he's my guide dog." And the bouncer said, "Oh, well, of course you can take him in." So then the second guy was like, "Great, I will follow his lead." And he walked up and tried to walk into the bar, and the bouncer said, "Sir, you can't bring your dog in here." And he said, "This is my guide dog." And the guy said, "Really? A Chihuahua?" And the guy says, "A Chihuahua? They gave me a chihuahua?
Waka waka! I wasn't here for the whole thing. So. That's how you know we're live. The allergies are
Anyway.
kicking in. All right.
You were saying.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so
Just, what Disney needs to just slow down. Make something good, not it's quality, not quantity. Okay?
Right.
Just calm down. And how about if we come up with some new things instead of just recycling all of the old things?
And therein, is
Mhm.
the problem. So, I mean, let's face it, for a while they were making movies off of their original rides. Like, and speaking of the Jungle Cruise,
Right?
The Rock,
That's
he's going
right.
to be our skipper.
I was just going to say, isn't that, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay. But I think that the culture has promoted this because every time there's a movie that's really good, what does everybody say? We want a sequel. We want a sequel.
And now we're conditioned to want a trilogy.
Right. Well, yeah, because now you got to have more. There's got to be more. So just like Knives Out. Oh, we got to have another Knives Out.
It's going to be on Netflix.
Well, you can't take that story any further.
No.
You have to tell a different story. And then it's not Knives Out.
It's true.
So I loved it as much as anybody. I wanted to rewind it when it was halfway through and start over at the theater. They wouldn't let me. But honestly, let it be its own thing and then let's come up with another one.
It's something.
I tell you what.
So, yeah. I mean.
But speaking of.
And I'm not going to lie, I'll end up at Disneyland eventually again at some point.
Shocker.
But I don't know when. And that's the first time I've said that in a long time.
Well, and they keep making it more expensive, and it's just.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, speaking of movies, I watched a limited series. I think it says series. Behind Her Eyes.
Which one was that on?
Netflix.
Okay.
It's hard to keep track.
It is.
Whoa. Is all.
Okay then.
It's really interesting, very engaging, but it's one of those that did not see that coming. It was really good. But that reminds me of also, speaking of didn't see that coming, I'm on a roll now. There was an article about like these 10 movies that had just crazy endings. And I don't remember most of them, but one of them was this movie that I've never seen called The Book of Henry.
I've never seen that either. Are we going to have a spoiler alert?
Well, yes. If I wasn't recording with my phone, I would pull it up and read it to you because it's written very well. My favorite part of it is that the actor, whose name I can't think of course, who plays Hank in Breaking Bad, is in this movie. And when the writer refers to him, like, I want to say Gene or Dean. Anyway,
no, that's not it.
Anyway, every time that character is referred to in this review, it is Hank from Breaking Bad. Don't even know what his character's name is. His real name is put in there once. But this is the best part. So here's my synopsis of their synopsis of Book of Henry.
All right.
Henry is a genius teenager, and he lives with his mother and younger brother, and has to act as the parent, controlling the finances and taking care of things, because the mother and the brother are just, having a good time, living the life.
Living the dream.
Meanwhile, he is in his room making inventions, and he has this notebook full of all these crazy inventions, and then he builds them in the basement and all of this stuff. Okay, meanwhile, the next door neighbor girl, he kind of fancies. Henry does with his book.
That's always the girl next door.
Right? Except that her dad is Hank from Breaking Bad. And apparently, he's a bad dad. So, they didn't say that in the article because it sounds terrible. But he was abusive. So, what's the kid's name again? It's a book of
Henry.
Book of what? Oh, no!
It was Henry, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So, Henry decides, this is the best.
I hope people from neither of our works or neither of our jobs are watching this.
They did preface this review with, while they're talking about movies with crazy endings, apparently this movie is just full of crazy plot twists, and it's just constantly. And so then he has to like skip ahead. So he's like, okay, we're focusing on endings, so I'm just gonna. So he's building this invention to take out Hank from Breaking Bad. And he's working steadily on this project in his book. And then, about halfway-ish through the movie, Henry gets brain cancer and dies.
How convenient.
Well, so his mother learns that Hank from Breaking Bad is abusing his daughter.
Is it Hal something?
No, no.
Anyway.
Hal.
He looks like a Hal.
No.
Oh, was that his name on Malcolm?
Yeah, that's the wrong guy.
Anyway. This episode's gonna have to be burned. Oh
to be fair, he hasn't watched Breaking Bad.
No.
Anyway, so the mother then decides, I will finish this invention, and I will complete the project of taking out Hank.
Wait,
from Breaking
Henry
Bad.
died?
Henry died.
Okay.
Henry. So she finds his book and finds his plan, his big plan. Are you ready for his plan?
I am.
He had a very detailed plan for his mother to go to the ATM, get some money, go buy a gun, and shoot him. The boy genius.
I was gonna say.
I'm gonna blame it.
Disappointed.
I'm gonna blame it on the brain cancer.
So much for diabolical.
Well, then apparently the mother decides she's not going to shoot him because for reasons. But then I guess apparently he ends up shooting himself. So because he finally got turned in.
I don't like any of this story.
Okay, but here's another one. This is a movie called Duets, and it has, is it Gwyneth Paltrow? Oh my God. Somebody. Anyway, I've not seen this movie either, but it's about these people. It's like
movies you've never seen.
I'm reviewing movies I've never seen. But somebody has, and now you don't have to. We're entertaining you and saving you time. You're welcome. Anyway, so Duets. It's about these groups of couples of people in like this karaoke contest, and so they like, go around singing karaoke. So,
Is this a Will Ferrell? Oh.
But it's like
I figured we didn't know who we were talking about.
I don't think
I'd throw it out there.
I don't think it is, but there's so there's all these different character combinations, right, in their stories. Well, one of them is this guy and his friend. The guy has gotten out of jail, and I don't remember now if he escaped or if he got out of jail. Like legitimately,
He's gone.
It probably matters, but he's not in jail right now, so he can go on the karaoke circuit with his friend.
I don't know what's worse. We haven't seen this movie, or that there's a karaoke circuit.
But there is a karaoke
I know.
circuit. Anyway.
I like to pretend if we don't say it out loud, it's not true.
Oh my goodness. So the movie is apparently like this rom-com kind of movie, right? And so of course it is, right? But then at the end of the movie, they're at like the finale. It's for the grand prize. And the guy that's out of jail.
And the Bellas swoop in and
they do not, because the guy from prison is last, and as he's singing his song, the police come in to arrest him.
Oh.
So he decides during his song that he ain't going back to the hole, or the whatever it is. What do they call it? The pokey? I don't know.
Surprisingly, we've never been.
The big house on the river? I don't know. Anyway. Anyway, he decides he's not going back.
finish.
So
I can't tell that story anyway.
Oh,
Never mind.
dear. After show party.
Yes.
So at the end of his song, he pulls a gun on the police and they shoot him.
Well, you hear of people doing that.
Right? So then the writer of this article was like, and if you think you're shocked, how do you think the people felt who brought dates to this movie? Oh, sorry. But why? Why would you do that? Okay, those are the only two movies that I didn't see that I read about that I remember. The other ones, if I'd heard of them, I kind of skipped over it. Although one of them was a movie I'd seen, Identity, with John Cusack.
I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of people at this motel, and they kind of start getting killed off or whatever. And so he was talking about that. I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that, but then I didn't really remember what it was about. But then he was saying, oh, spoiler alert, they're all actually representing a personality of the criminal that's
right.
whatever. So they're not real, but they're fighting for dominance. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Maybe I should watch that again. But not Book of Henry and not Duets. Are there any movies or books you haven't read or seen that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I did think about riffing on Godzilla versus Kong, but I'll let it go.
Joe was watching a little bit of that today. His friends told him that it was kind of cool, even though it was kind of dumb. And I said, well, is there like...
I think there's just, that's just
I guess
a genre.
Stuff gets blown up.
That you have to like.
I don't
No,
know.
but speaking of predictable endings,
we were speaking of unpredictable endings.
Unpredictable ending. Well, we want a predictably unpredictable ending with this next movie I'm about to talk about.
Okay.
So, the movie Kate and I are very looking forward to seeing. Words are so hard. It's word salad left and right today.
I hope you.
And I swear, it's just monster.
Everyone, get out your little Orphan Annie secret decoder rings. You're gonna need them.
So, Cruella's coming out, which I get upset about because there's a lot of people that say this is the movie that nobody asked for. You know what?
That's a long list, people.
Yeah.
And Cruella's at the bottom of it.
And
so y'all need to just chime
It's
down.
Emma Stone, so just shut up.
Right.
Period. The end. So a lot of people, though, have been saying that at the end, you know, when we watched Maleficent, like, she turns sweet and good and tra-la-la, and...
I blocked that out.
You didn't like Angelina?
Oh, I don't remember that
don't
at
remember
the
it?
end.
Well, I didn't see the second
So I
one.
must have
Apparently in
blocked
the
it
second one, she goes mean again.
I mean, you know, it's hard to change people.
But I am agreeing with a lot of people that are saying, look, we just need Cruella to end with her being evil and mean and going to the house on the river.
It's not a cartoon, so it's okay. See, I think the problem is that there's this sense of you have to have resolution, right? So
Right.
the bad guy has to either be punished or turn good. And I mean,
I'm trying to think.
But look
I
at
want
all
to
the-
say she went to jail in the cartoon. Or did
Oh,
she just
maybe.
roll over in her car? I
Who's
remember
to
she's going
say?
crazy driving her car.
But if you think
But-
about like Batman, those villains just
They go to
come-
Arkham
they
and then they
come
break
back.
out again.
I mean, it's okay to have a bad guy. I mean, you've got to blame stuff on somebody.
Right?
Why not Cruella? Why you got to make her nice? She's not going to have witty things to say nicely.
No. Nobody ever does.
Who's going to want to sit by her now? I mean, maybe me, but still.
All right. We are getting chilly out here.
A little.
A little bit. And the
Next
allergies
time we'll
are
be in the
kicking
sunshine.
and yes, it'll be
Ish.
more warm and
It'll be more
stuff.
warm, hopefully.
And hopefully we won't have brain fog and word salad and be
Yeah.
able to make
Don't
sentences.
hold your breath on that one. Something tells me it's not getting better.
It's fine.
It is fine.
It's fine, interwebs.
We are okay. Okay.
And on that note, I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
We'll see you next time.